Hey, this is Will Knight, and we are back with another podcast all about nothing, and we are in New York. So today we are joined by one of the famous artists in New York, Nathan Hall. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
So tell me about yourself.
What would you like to know? Yeah.
So you're an artist.
Yes.
And
Painter.
you have very beautiful artwork.
Yeah.
And I first noticed his artwork in Chicago at a gallery, Victor's Gallery.
Yeah, Gallery Victor Armendariz in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
In River North.
And you had a exhibit there. You have an exhibit there.
Yes, I have a show called Undercurrents that's open for another week. It's been running all summer and it's gotten a lot of good reviews and whatnot, so it's been really exciting.
It's a great show, great art. So tell me about the process. Like, how did you get to New York? Like, okay, so let's start off at 16 years of age.
Yes. So 16 years of age. I'm from Connecticut originally.
Okay.
And I was doing art from incredibly young age. I happen to be good at it. I'm not sure I respected it much. I just kind of was good at it, and my mom noticed it and got into a lot of art programs and art school, or just art classes and whatnot.
Okay.
And at 16, I was doing pet portraits for people.
Really?
Yeah, pastel pet portraits. Had a little side business going on.
All right.
Yeah.
So if those people still have those pet portraits,
Yes. I mean, my name's on it, so they're worth something now. And so it was good, but I didn't really have like any artistic notions at the time.
Yeah.
I just was good at art, and so I did it, and led me to some summer programs at Syracuse University when I was still like 16, 17, 18. It's been a while now, so I can't remember. Probably 17. And then, but then I ended up going out to college, University of Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's sort of where I kind of got my bearings initially as kind of an artist. And they were very much into more of like the abstract space at the time. And so really changed my whole kind of perspective. And opened me up a lot as an artist, but also sent me down a wayward path for a long time before I found my way back to the figurative work, where I kind of live now, and been having a lot more, much more my voice.
What is your inspiration behind your work at the Victor Gallery in Chicago?
So that show. I mean, in a lot of my work, I've always been trying to get to that underlayer of like the human emotion, having paintings and work that when you stand in front of, it's not about the realism, it's about the realism of the emotion, so that you can feel that the beating heart of the person in front of you, so you may, as a viewer, have some kind of connection. And so a lot of my work has a little bit of melancholy air, maybe a little, the light, but bringing that hope too, which is such a part of the human condition.
The lighting on the artwork is unbelievable.
It's a character in the whole, so as much as it's figurative work, it's that light that kind of brings it in and kind of helps create that space where you look at the work, and there's nothing narrative about it, but you feel, hopefully, you feel something, and it pulls something in you, and so that's kind of where my interests come. And so when I'm working on these shows and working and bringing the work together, I sort of curate those ideas and those emotions to see what's pulling and pushing and playing with scale, so that kind of have the most effect, and different people like different things. So you can go from like the very large paintings to like the small drawings. You have to go look closer. So one's kind of like enveloping you, the other one is just a little gem, so that it all kind of plays out when I'm working on these things. And then I work with people. I work with models, and we collaborate, and so a lot of, they're bringing something to the table too when we're working together. And
I noticed in one of your pieces, there was a model that had his back turned. And he was a ballet dancer, from what I was told, or?
I'm sure he has ballet skill. He's a modern dancer too as well. And you guys can't see on the camera, but that's actually him as well. So in the same photo shoot, or a different photo shoot. And his name is Tim, and he came several times to the studio and worked together. And that, the piece that you're talking about, Gossamer, was really interesting because we're doing the photo shoot, and a lot of wonderful compositions we were playing with. He knows how to hold his body very well. And I love to work with dancers and actors that know how to kind of because we're working together to
move their bodies in different ways.
Yeah, and it can be emotive, right? It's like because of the emotion I'm going with, trying to pull that out. It's like the way they hold their hands or change things. Little shifts like that can make it sing. Right. And so what's interesting about that one is we were working and we were both kind of getting tired. These photo shoots have like an arc of how you can do it. And, as a photographer, it's like at some point.
Yes.
But
Trust me, I've worked with a model for years, and I was just like, okay, enough. I'm done.
It's just you hit that thing in your mind can't. And I kind of hit that point, but we were trying. There's just that one kind of pose, and he just had an idea of what was wrong with it that I wasn't seeing, and he made a little adjustment, and that was the last photo we did for that shoot. Right. And when I'm doing these photo shoots, they're very set up and staged. It's very like I've already have things, and so to have that, to be near the end of that and to have it just come alive, and we both knew.
Right.
And then I played with scale for a while on that one. That was going to be big, but then when I made it smaller, that's when it started to speak.
Okay.
And you kind of want to go look at it.
Right.
So that's kind of where it's like you don't always know, and you have to let the work and everything, and also. But now his portrait is going to be very large, and so it's kind of like as a series, So that's kind of the thing that kind of goes into it.
Yeah.
But it's an evolution. It's never. I try not to set anything.
Right.
I just kind of let
you let it flow. You just let it flow,
go. And you start just curating and putting the guardrails up, so you actually get a show done. And there may be months where it's not quite following that, and you just have to kind of trust. Yeah. But I really try not to be too prescriptive about it because. You'll miss something,
right?
And even near the end, I'm usually like before I get the canvases, and I design it as a show, like like the singers where you have like the singer that just releases singles or the singer that does the albums. I'm kind of an album guy, So I think I can't help it, but I'm thinking always like the larger kind of amount of paintings I'm working on, just so they can play with each other. And with Undercurrent, I made sure all of them would look good next to each other, depending on how Victor wanted to hang them. Right. So they were always going to be speaking to each other. So, and then as I go on to like a new era, it kind of gets bookmarked because of that. Yeah. It's not just adding new pieces to it.
Right.
I'm working on a few additional ones now because they were part of the photo shoots. But once those are done, that'll kind of be the bow on the present, as it were.
How long have you been in New York for?
So, since 2009. So kind of found my way back here. And that's also when I started getting back into the figurative work. Okay. So it kind of ties. And after being away from it for a while, I took a lot of work to find my voice and get good. But a few years earlier, I'd gone out to Paris. And,
really?
We went to the Louvre and seen like the works of like the huge scale works of Jacques-Louis David, and just like, the Coronation and the Rape of the Saved by Woman and the Raft of Medusa from Delacroix. And I just was, had I seen that when I was like 20, I would have stayed in this lane the whole time. It spoke to me on such a level of just the scale, and obviously I play with scale, and it's not my bigger ones. I want to keep, I have this whole studio mainly so I can go as big as possible with the trucks and everything. And it's just, but part of that is just because when you stand in front of them, you can't not look.
Right.
And it folds in on you, you fold in on it, and you're just, you can't not have a moment with it. And that's how I was when I saw those, and I was just like, and it took me years to kind of then navigate from there. It's not like a conscious thought. It's just like you feel something inside, and slowly as an artist, you start finding that you're gravitating towards that. So I just kind of happened and got myself back to New York, and then a few years of just doing some really bad stuff, and took some extra classes at the Art Academy. But it's when I got a chance to study with Alyssa Monks, who is a kind of a famed figurative artist. And it was during that time, over like 8 months, she had these Sunday classes, and I was doing horrible during them. But but here's what happened: there's other people in the class, and we were meeting every Sunday, and I would just listen to her, talk to other people, because she'd go around and work with people, and she's such a gracious and giving teacher, and I would just listen to her and my perspective on art. So it wasn't like she was showing me, oh, this is how you paint a nose, this is how, but it was more just like her whole perspectives and approach. And then I'd go back to my studio during the week and I would work on it. And that's, from that point on, all of my work kind of found its voice. And I went off into my own direction, my own approach from there. But that foundation was really rooted in those times. And that was back in 2015. So, and then most of the work that's kind of more visible online now is after that kind of period.
So you know what's interesting? I was in Paris and I went to the Louvre Museum. and I wanted to see one piece of artwork there. And everywhere you go, you see this piece of artwork and you think it's massive.
Right. Yeah.
And I get to the Louvre Museum, I get to this artwork, and I'm like, it's the Mona Lisa. And it's like, oh my God, I waited in line for this.
And a very large wall too.
Yes.
You're like, okay.
And then I came to New York, I guess a couple years after I went to the Louvre, and I walked in. I can't remember the name of the museum, but it's across the street from the Met.
Oh, the Frick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I saw the movie, The Lady in Gold.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go see this one. And it was literally like, wow. I was like, that's my favorite piece.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've been to that museum like 3 times already.
Yeah.
I try to go, not all the time I come back to New York, but several times I've been in New York, I want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's such a great collection and eclectic as well.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I think they just redid it. I haven't been back.
Yeah, they did, yeah. And the history behind it is so very interesting too. Mm-hmm. So tell me about, like, how did you go from, like, in your exhibit, you have large scale, and then you have medium scale.
Yeah.
How did you decide which painting was going to be large and which one's going to be small?
Yeah, so it's such an interesting, it kind of goes back to what I was saying before, where I do these photo shoots, and I've already usually started. So like the biggest one, I Love You the First Time, that one was already being worked on. I knew that. I had worked with that model, Corin Thomas, before in a smaller piece, which came out great. And so it's like I just kind of had that inspiration already, and that was kind of the foundation for the show. And from there, I was doing the photo shoot. I'd have an idea of what I was going to do, but then everything evolves. And so I was kind of switching longer than I planned, honestly. I was having panic attacks because,
Oh, I bet.
Well, like we were talking before, Victor was waiting for the show, and here I am being like, no, maybe that should be
la-di-da-di-da. I'm still working.
So I even actually had the canvases ordered, all the different sizes, and I wanted an eclectic kind of range, both for the gallery to work with, for just from the commercial side of people being able to. Some don't have the space for a massive painting. Everybody should, but not everybody does.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so I would, I would just endlessly curate my own ideas, and then and there's a bunch that didn't make it in too. I do more than usually. It's just what's there to make sure. And there was something from a photo shoot that I kind of abandoned a while ago. That then it was actually the sole woman in the show.
She's beautiful.
So beautiful.
She's beautiful.
Yeah. And that was from a while ago. It almost ended up in a previous show, but I struggled to paint it at the time. And it was one of those, when I added it to the show, if I had told someone I was adding it that knew anything about the struggles I had with that painting, they'd be like, "No, you're not." And I'm like, but I was just like, I don't like to lose, and I was losing on that painting, and so it was such a victory to like have it turn out amazing, and just kind of color story wise and the vibe just really added to it. And so I save a lot of those things that don't quite.
The color actually, I think, complemented her eyes. Yeah. Which was just, you guys have to go to Victor's gallery. You have to see it. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, and that's kind of like the whole color story, all that kind of thing. And what I loved about how Victor was able to hang it and how his space is, you can walk in and you could feel the whole vibe of all the pieces. Like it feels like a cohesive thing. And if other spaces, if depending on how you can't quite see everything at once, you might miss that. Right. And I think that kind of evokes something in you when you feel I don't know, just feel the artistry that's kind of gone into it, that thought, and how they tie together. Yeah, when I looked at it, it was just like, that's a lot of work.
It was.
That's a lot of work. It was like the smaller the print was that's a lot of work. Because the color, her eyes, her skin tone was like, it was flawless.
And then you got that shadow.
Yes.
That's what previously I'd give it, like doing that kind of really deep shadow work and still make it believable. You can only go so dark, and black reflects, and just like you can only go so much with the whites and light. You're never going to get what sunlight is doing. But by tricks of the trade, you can start mimicking it, and that's what the Impressionists did, and that's where it's like I was hugely influenced by them because of that aspect. So I might have this more darker range and more dramatic range to pull at that emotion, but it's still those tricks of being able to create the shadow to recede, and on her, it's so dramatic that it's like it took years for me to be able to get to that point to do that.
Wow.
But I will say, I didn't struggle with it at all. It was she was a victory lap, you know, so I was pretty pleased with that whole painting.
So tell us about this piece of artwork here.
So this is Brandon Washington. He's a dancer, and actually, I believe him and Tim are friends. And he was a friend of a friend, an acquaintance. And I was working on a show I had up at the Zillman Art Museum in Bangor, Maine. Big exposition, and I had big walls I was able to fill, and so I was able to do really big pieces. And I had this kind of pose planned, and he came in and he just elevated it to...
He was like, no, forget what you're thinking. This is what I'm thinking.
I'm like, maybe do something like this. And he's like, nah, I got this. And what's interesting is he's, you know, there's certain ones I don't want to like let go of. And this is one of, I very much love this painting. And I just recently put it up because the show's over in, off in Chicago, and I have these empty walls, and I'm working on new pieces. You guys can't see it, but it's behind. There's a bunch of pieces I'm working on, and I pulled them out, and I just was like, that's a good damn painting. He's been over in the, you know. Sometimes I pull them out.
Exactly.
I'm like,
it's just It's just like me when I do photography. I sell some of my work, my architectural pieces. And I have, when I have guests over or a party, they're like, they go into my studio and they're like rummaging through the artwork, and I'm like, hands off there, get off there, you know. But it's just like, I love when people come over and kind of go through and see what you have.
Because it brings new life to it. And you're like, oh my gosh,
They're like, I didn't know you do this. And I'm like, that's my studio inside.
Well, it's funny with Brandon's never actually seen the work because he was out of town when it got shipped off, and then it's been in storage, and now that I pulled it out, I just reached out to him and was like, okay. It's time. 2 years later, let's get you to see this, and
I like how, like, in all your pictures, paintings in Chicago, it's not manicured faces. Like the eyebrows are not manicured, the hairs are not manicured. So when you see the photo, you see like hair sticking out. You see the eyebrows kind of messed up.
But one of the things is because of the way I do the lighting. It captures all of that. And it's just like, it's beautiful, and it's the way, and it's like if I manicured or removed it, it takes away from that. That the way the light is dancing off of. And trust me, sometimes I want to like, I want to jump out the window because I'm like, why? Because it's painful. Your mind, when you're painting that, your mind goes crazy because you're just, I'm not trying to be exact. I'm just trying to capture the light. But to do that, sometimes you have to be exact. And other times you don't. You know. And up close, it's like there's varying degrees of it. But like, especially on those big ones, you're just like, it's filling your head. This beard is filling your head, and you're just like, oh my gosh. But then when you step back and you see it, it just starts adding that volume, and once the full light's in, it just kind of dances off, and I think that so it's a love-hate relationship with that. I'm like, can you just do more basic lighting? And then my next photo shoot, it's all complicated again.
So do you do your own lighting, your own?
I do it all.
You do it all.
A one-man shop.
You do the photography, the lighting, everything.
I even pack them up myself. It's kind of crazy.
Load them up to the truck.
I mean,
you're like, bye.
And some of these are really big, but I got the process down, and so you learn.
How do you get pieces like this or bigger out?
It's you need two people for the bigger ones for sure, you just got to get them packed well, and then luckily here, and one of the reasons I'm here is it has big doors and the freight elevators.
Got it.
And they're kind of set up for that. Other studios not so much, and so like that was actually my impetus for moving here, was when all the work that was at the museum exhibition was out of the studio, because I knew I was going to have a storage problem when they came back. Because it was an exhibition at a museum. It wasn't like a for sale commercial thing. So I knew they were all coming back to me. Some have since gone to Gallery Victor. I still have some of them here. This is why this guy's here. And so, when I was looking, it's like tall doors, tall ceilings. And so It was more like the logistics
Yeah.
of being able to support it.
Right.
Because it does become a problem. The size.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
It's yeah.
So what are you working on now? Tell our audience, what are you working on now?
Yeah, so there's two pieces. So, while I was working on Undercurrents, there's a lot of other compositions I'm working on that kind of get curated out. And these two pieces were both sort of part of the overall curated part, but they were done actually. This one over here was done. It was a last photo shoot.
Yeah.
And it's sort of I don't want to say the missing piece, but it's the one that just will kind of round out the whole kind of experience, from a collection standpoint.
Yeah.
I think, from a show perspective, what we were showing Gallery Victor it's fully realized.
Right.
But from like the overall collection and my own inspiration, this more figurative piece with, it has, it extends the color story. So there's actually blue damask kind of wallpaper.
Okay.
It's quite gorgeous.
Yeah.
And especially against the model Mo Khalifa's skin tone. And then this is of Tim, who was from the Gossamer thing, and it's more of just a stark dark background.
Okay.
But his whole side of his face is super shadowed and really beautiful glows, and so it's just a little different kind of shadow work.
Yeah.
He's got a very classical look, but no beard.
Ah, yes, yes,
The one inclusion, just like the one female, it's like I could do faces without beards.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be really gorgeous, and I obsessed over how big I was gonna go in the size. And right now it looks very odd because there's no shadow, so it looks kind of ghostly. But
it's not finished, so we can't show you guys.
Yeah.
We can't show you guys unfinished work. But he's describing it.
In a month or two, hopefully these things will be kind of out. And I'm kind of, it's very, they've been kind of great to work on without the show deadline looming over. Right. So it's also why I'm a little behind on them too, because it's
I know every time there's a show or a deadline, this is like you wake up at 2:00 in the morning. This is like deadline.
The pressure.
Yeah, I do the same thing. It's just like I wake up at 2:00 in the morning. I'm like, oh, what do I have going on? And it is like, oh my God, I can't wait for this is over so I can get some sleep.
Totally. Yeah. And then suddenly it's over, and you're like, oh.
Yes.
What am I going to do with myself?
Right.
So I'm going to finish these, which is kind of the goal. But luckily, taking it a little easier.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So tell me about, what do you see these pieces going in New York or somewhere else?
So it just sort of depends. They'll sort of be on the gallery's radar.
Okay.
There was some potential that there's some colleges I was potentially going to have do some showing at, and these might go there.
Okay.
So it's sort of like just like other opportunities are coming up, but eventually most likely will make their way.
It's New York. Chicago. It's the greatest art scene in the country.
Yeah. And just having some new work to be able to just kind of exhibit around here.
Yeah. And
then eventually get to the gallery. For Victor to do work as manager.
So, are you a Yankees fan or a Mets fan?
Sports. If I had to choose one, it would be Yankees.
Okay.
Only because my family are Red Sox fans.
You
have to go against.
Okay, so you got to go against the family. Of course.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, if you have a piece of advice, we're going to wrap this up soon.
Sure.
So, you have a piece of advice to give to someone who's starting out. Yeah. What would that advice be?
Oh my gosh, big question. Know your materials, and I mean that like it seems like such a basic thing. Know, like from a painting perspective, or any kind of art perspective. For me, it's know your paints and how they behave. How can you do anything unless you actively know? People like to. There's so much available these days.
Yeah.
You could throw so much at things and be like, oh, but never actually know how you achieve something. So how could you push yourself if you don't actually understand why it's happening? Know your canvases. Know how your brushes behave. Like, just know that. You're gonna have to experiment. It's gonna take time, but like the end goal is to actually know, not always be switching, so that then you can refine and become very good at it.
Some of your brushes cost more than my shoes.
I mean, and you go through them. Yeah, you go through them. But I work with a fairly limited set of stuff because I know it really well. And then know your foundational stuff. Know how to colors mix, and it's like I know it sounds all basic.
Yeah.
And then the best one is just you kind of find your voice and your way of working. Take it all in from mentors and other people, but like you will never be that other artist. You can only be yourself. And so find what that is. There's just so many artists I love, and I just adore their work, and I would never be able to do that. It's not just about ability, it's about temperament.
Yeah.
It's about the amount of time you have, the amount of space you have, and just leaning into the reality of that and leaning into who you are can create amazing stuff. And for me, I actually, for a long time, even when I was working the figurative stuff, I was still trying to make it more abstract and stuff. It's actually when I went more into the realism thing, which I honestly was very much trying not to do. I thought it was a little bit at the time of a cop-out. And the more I did, the more I realized that was the space where my artistic instinct and intent really lied. And once I sort of owned that's who I am, you know, and was able to bring in those other influences of like some of the thicker paint and like, again, like you were saying, it's not, everything's not perfect. It's, you know, and really leaning into the whole, you know, emotion. And I like to say like you know, I know I'm working on these elaborate photos that I take and I'm trying to capture, but when I'm trying to capture the emotion that me and the models collaborated together.
Right.
And I like to say it's like you know, like if you're translating a novel from French to English or English to French, and you have to use different phrasing, but you're still really trying to evoke that same, the same thing the author wanted. That's sort of what I'm doing with the work when I'm translating from that initial photography work is I'm not trying to be exact, but I am trying to be true to it. And so a little different color here, a little different way of approach, but still pulling on that. And then at some point it becomes its own thing. And that's when it's kind of really exciting. So anyways, trust yourself. I mean,
there you go.
Kind of lame, but literally, no one else is going to, so you kind of need to.
And where can people find you?
You can find me at nathanbradhall.com or on Instagram at nathanbradhall. All very straightforward.
All right. I actually saw his show and I was like, I need to stalk him on Instagram because I want him on my podcast.
And here we are.
And here we are in New York. So thank you very much.
Of course, it's been amazing.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. And that's it for All About Nothing. See you guys next week.